Hello and welcome to the St Kilda and Bayside Report. We are in September.
We are, Gary.
2019. My name's Gary Peer.
I'm Jeremy Rose. It's
You
good to have
are
you
indeed.
back, Gary.
It's good to be
You
back.
missed the last episode and we had Philip
missed
here.
you. I know. Well, how did it go? You cover okay?
Look, I think we'll leave that up to the viewers, Gary.
Is that right? Yeah, well, I think the viewers know.
Not for me to say.
I think they know who they prefer.
No, I think he
not talk
filled
about
in well.
Hey?
But he filled in well, but I'm not sure that he could be part of the well, let's just say I don't think he can be part of it moving forward full time.
Is that right? He brings a certain energy to it and a bit of nervous, crazy energy, doesn't he? I say that
Can
lovingly.
be controversial
Yeah,
too, Gary,
it can
but
be,
that's
yeah.
okay. You
It
need to
can
live
be.
on the edge.
Of course, well, why not? Why wouldn't you? Let's just talk a little bit about what's going on in the real estate market, because no longer on the edge, it's right immersed in
We have
to
tips.
the guts of spring.
Have we tipped into? Can we say that the market is now back?
Well, you know, I think, Jeremy, it was a market that was in recovery, and I think it's a market now recovered. This is a market that has recovered. We are seeing now people stepping up to the plate, and you would be aware, of course, our last weekend of auctions,
I was,
45
Gary.
bidders.
I was there. I took a few of those bids.
How about that, eh? And there's a lot of buyers going around just saying, I'll take it. Never seen properties before, just rocking up on the day,
Gary.
swinging the bat and having a crack. What do you think of that?
What's also interesting, because we say that buyers do turn up on the day, but people often think that that is relative to a lower price point. But we've seen people turn up at auctions.
2.5 million someone bought
correct
on the day. Saw on the day.
a couple of weekends ago.
Oh, 2.5 million. I think I'll just buy that. Just take it home. That's it. Let's do it.
Speaking of that home and those vendors, very often, not often enough, but very often our vendors after a sale give us a gift.
Oh, yeah,
I got a gift from these vendors.
Yes.
It was
Tip
unbelievable,
to vendors,
Gary.
note to vendors, give gifts to agents.
I won't put
When
a
happy.
photo because it's rather gruesome, but a vacuum sealed, I reckon it was probably
Getting worried
that
though. Is
big.
it legal?
A 3 kilo something piece of eye fillet meat.
Oh, is that right?
That is as good a gift. It's already gone.
Is that right?
It was unbelievable.
Where was my
That's a
invitation
gift.
to the barbie? I don't know. I'm still waiting.
No, it wasn't a barbecue.
In the mail, hey?
He said, well, Phil was
what was
there
it?
and, you know, most of the crew were there. So
Oh, is that
it must have gotten missed in the mail there, Gary.
Okay,
When
fair
we were
enough.
changing our servers over.
That's okay, fair enough. Well, it's a nice gift anyway. We'll take any gifts that are coming our way.
Absolutely.
We should really tell some of the people that are watching what's been going on, because we talk abstract, but there's drilling down. There's been some good sales. Hammerdale Road was one of those sales.
Hammerdale was a fantastic result, Gary. We had a range that was around that sort of 1-1-1-2-1 and exceeded expectations and sold well in excess of that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it sold well over 1-3, or not well over, but well in excess of 1-3.
We went to...
Can we disclose that result?
It says disclose.
It says why, doesn't it? So $1,320,000, Gary. Good result.
I need to sneeze. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it, in the middle of the show?
Well, not really,
let's move
Gary.
on. But that price was nothing to sneeze at, nor was that result. Lambert Place in St Kilda.
How do you keep those pathetic old man
Quips.
cliche little...
They're dad jokes.
They're
If you want dad
terrible.
humour, watch this show, turn off everything
Terrible.
else. Yeah, exactly right. Do you think there's a role script writing dad jokes anywhere around the world? 'Cause I reckon I
well,
could
if
do
there
it.
is, you'd be first in the queue, Gary.
I think I would be. Lambeth Place, now that was an
Well, you
auction.
did that auction, Gary.
I did that auction. I got to say that, there's a couple of interesting things that happened at that auction.
Yes.
Firstly, someone bought it, or was either the
generally
buyer
happens at
or the
auctions.
underbidder
Yes.
actually rocked up on the day. So we
Yes.
had a rock up on the day.
Uh-huh.
But there was also somebody who wasn't in possibly the best state of mind, who was actually screaming at me during the auction. So, having an auction, this sort of guy comes up, and I know he's not watching the show because he wouldn't be the type of person.
You
who
don't
would
know
watch
that he's not watching
I
that
doubt
show.
it.
Because this would send you batty, and you'd have to go to drugs to recover.
Well, possibly he used to watch the show, and that sent him in a state. But he was, somehow not right. And he goes, 10,000, right? And he just walked up, and then he said 5,000, 2,000. So it was like there was a Marx Brothers movie years ago where they just start making their own auction. And this guy, so I'm holding the bid, I'm running the auction, and all of a sudden this guy's just in my face, just throwing bids indiscriminately at me. And it was pretty weird, actually. I didn't quite know how to deal with it, but
Are you suggesting
I tried
we
to be
should
respectful.
drug test our bidders
Well,
prior to...
this guy was clearly, was not well.
Affected.
that day. He was affected, not well. But anyway,
Welcome to St Kilda, Gary.
We did get through it. It sold for, it can happen sometimes.
And what's interesting is that next week, he's the guest on the
Is that
show.
right?
So we're really excited to introduce
He's
him.
running the show.
John from St Kilda.
Thank you, John. $630,000,
Yes,
Jeremy.
good result. Strong result, despite the activities that were around you. You still
the fun.
maintained
I did.
composure.
I
You
might
were
have-
professional.
I might have got a much higher price if I would have taken his bids, but I don't know if I
Yeah,
would
I'm
have
not
had
sure you
a
would
check
have signed
signed.
the
No,
contract, Gary.
don't think so somehow. Market Street, let's talk about to
That
market to
is-
market.
Now that's a great address, Gary.
That
That's
is.
just around the corner from my St Kilda office in Inkerman.
is indeed.
This is a beautiful double-storey townhouse, competitively vied
Sort,
for
yeah,
at auction, which is a great result as
$1,322,000.
well, Gary.
$322,000. if I'm not
Correct,
mistaken.
Gary,
Yeah,
correct.
very good. 2 at 329 Orong Road.
Did that auction. It was an interesting auction because we thought we would have a couple of bidders, and we bounced out of the blocks early with one of the bidders, and it slowed up, and we went in for a half-time break. And my colleague said to me, "You need to go a bit slower, Jeremy," which I don't normally hear. And I said, "Well, why is that?" Because the bidder is actually stuck in traffic, the second bidder, on their way to the auction.
Oh, is that right? So
So
you started
we-
saying, I have bid to 70,000.
Oh, I had a bit. Well, our halftime break
75.
took a little bit longer than what it needed to, and lo and behold, as I went out to start the auction again, she was there and played her role beautifully, Gary. Hands straight in the air. Ended up being the eventual buyer there, Gary,
Is that right?
which was good.
Just well, traffic on a Saturday in Melbourne.
It was a bit crazy down on Orong
it's
Road
gone a
that
bit mad,
weekend.
hasn't
Ended up selling, Gary. Do we have a price there? $290,000 on the market, and I think about $275.
Indeed. Let's move on.
Look, it's
Okay.
really hard to we do this every month, and you do it every week.
We
and
do.
You would think that by now you would have your professionalism
Yes,
at a
I'm
level.
consummate professional, I'd like to think
well,
myself, yeah.
I think what the viewers don't know is what goes on behind the scenes. That Gary has a runny nose. I think is probably the best
Well,
way.
a little
We
bit,
not only
yeah.
do we
It's
have to
cold in here.
stop this whole thing.
We had a little break.
There are people lined up waiting
Yeah,
to
there
come
are.
in here, but you
There
had
are.
to stop it to
Yes.
A, blow your nose, and then it was brought to our attention that you had a stray piece of hair.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And thanks to the camera guys here who came up with that stray piece of hair, but I'm surprised you only came up with one stray piece of hair.
I think they might even show
Because
you.
there's a few
yes.
stray things. There's a lot going on. with
Busy
we
face.
might
I've got a-
need to have a look
I've got a
at,
busy face there, don't
we
worry
might
about
need
that.
to get down to the hairdresser.
No, well, I
and-
like a lot of action everywhere. If it's on my face, it's
yeah.
fine too.
On the eyebrows is probably a little bit too much. though,
10
Gary.
at 75, Hotham
Do
Street.
you find when it's raining
Yeah.
that no water ever gets in your
no,
eyes
it's
because
beautiful.
it just soaks up? So you've
How
got
good's
like
that?
a couple of sponges.
Are you
on
jealous? you two can be that one time. You two can aspire.
I look forward to that in my
In
latter
later years.
years.
Exactly
yeah.
right. Something to aspire to, look forward to.
Oh,
So it's
well.
not all bad getting a bit
No, it's
older.
not.
10 at 75, Hotham Street, St Kilda Reese. Mr. Rosens, tell us about
Cracking
that.
auction. That was good fun, Gary.
Yeah.
We did it inside, and there is some footage. Sadly, the person taking the footage decided when you pinch the photo, it makes it very much a close up. So they did do a close up of me, and my children have notified me that all of my chins looked
Was close.
fabulous in that video.
Yes, exactly right.
All of them. Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Anyway,
See?
that was a good result. Two strong
getting on.
bidders there on the
Yeah.
market at four. In fact, the first bid, Gary, there,
Yeah.
it was on the market.
How
Straight
about
away, 475 out the block,
mucking
sold
around.
for an even 550. I often make the joke at an auction that you should get to 550. It was just a number that to get to 550 so that it's easy to work out a 10% deposit. Then it was very difficult for me to plead with another buyer to get another 1,000 because then it wouldn't be. So she said, "No, I don't want your job to be too hard." So she stopped bidding, but it turns out that was her limit anyway. So
I'm
550 sold, great result.
I don't think people really care about our job being difficult.
Or
out there.
listen to me anyway.
It's that
No.
combination of the two. Look, if you wanted your own seaside home on the beach, on the beach,
yep.
So we're talking Bayside real estate.
Of course we are, Gary, because this is Bayside TV.
How about being on the beach where you literally just go out onto the sand
Yep.
in your own bit of paradise?
It sounds
we can help you.
idyllic, Gary.
We
It
can help
sounds
you.
idyllic, and
Yeah.
I got to say, there's no better place to do that, Gary. And I know the punters will probably think, "What's he talking about?" But if
punters-
I were going to go and buy on the beach, I would do it in Frankston, Gary.
The best street in Frankston
Is Gould Street, Gary,
we
and the
have another
best
property, yeah.
block of land in Gould Street is number 16 Gould Street, Gary, because that's going to auction on the 8th of September. 919 square metres
That's a big block of land.
beachfront real estate,
like it.
Gary. You
I
can
like it
actually hear the
a lot.
waves crashing from your newly built home. Get in touch with Glenn Bricker because that is on market as we speak.
And as Glenn will say in his beautiful, eloquent South African accent,
Why
he'll say,
don't you buy it?
I can't believe this property. So there you go. We are going to be in Nottage Street this weekend, Mr.
We are,
Rosens.
Gary, we are.
Leo Samuel's auctioning this wonderful property. Tell us a bit about it.
He is. This is a good one, Gary. We've
course
got a
we are.
brochure here in front of us here. This is 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, main with ensuite, great open plan living area, little decking area outside, going to auction, Gary, on the 1st of September. And priced very sharply, Gary. You have the sheet of paper.
I do.
so you might
630
want
to
tell me
690 is the range. We move on then, Jeremy, to Dickens Street, Elwood. Heaven to Dickens. This is a wonderful looking property.
Well, there you go again with your silly dad jokes, dad talk. This is
Proud of
a
it.
huge apartment, Gary, opposite the St Kilda Botanical Gardens. Living on one level with 3 bedrooms, massive living areas, lounge, dining, all goes together beautifully. Little balcony and a garage as well.
Yeah, this is a great
Priced
property.
sharply, beautifully renovated, and ready to move into, Gary, whether it be the 30, the 60 or the 90-day option.
You can take a choice there. You won't see any monsters in this Milton Street, Jeremy. We're at 16 to 18 Milton Street, Elwood. There's nothing monstrous about it except maybe the size of the property. What have you got to say?
I don't have a lot to say, Gary, because it's very hard to follow on from such pathetic gibberish that is coming out of your mouth today. I'm really, I mean, it's stylish, it's sunny, and it's highly sought after, which would be about, how many words is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 words that would be the polar opposite that I would describe you today.
Fair enough.
Because you are all things not like that. But this is a dual-level townhome, Gary, in one of Melbourne's very coolest suburbs in Elwood. 3 bedrooms, couple of bathrooms, garage, outdoor living as well. This is a beautiful home and really great owners. So shout out to them.
We've got a bit of a park theme going on. We've got a parkside theme. Dickens is near the park. Milton very close to the park.
Here we go.
And we've got
wait for it, folks.
We've got now Milburn Grove, which is right
on the cusp of a park.
Because if you walk down Milburn, you hit Green Meadows Park.
You will,
Great
Gary.
park, one of my favourites.
You would have been down at Green Meadows Park as a youngster.
Oh, I was riding my bike around,
your
terrorising
tricycle.
people.
Did they have wheels back then? Did
I
they?
did, yeah. They invented the wheel just before I got the bike.
Terrific. Well, this is a great home, Gary. This is a single-level villa unit at the back of a block of only 2.
Yep.
Although it does have a carriageway, and there's 2 on that side, 2 on the other side, but they are not joined. This is at the rear, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, great living areas, open plan kitchen, family, little outdoor entertaining area as well, and really sharply priced. A little bit over $1 million there, Gary.
That's great, a great opportunity. Looking forward to that one.
I think it is.
As we are in Goulay Street, if you go down one end of Goulay Street and keep walking, you'll get to Green Meadows Park. If you go the other end, you'll get to that other lovely reserve in Williams Street. You know, there's a little reserve there by the railway line. Goulay Street. I'll remind you about it sometime.
Tell me about how we get from one end to Green Meadows Park.
Because you cross Hotham and you go down Melby or Talbot, which is opposite Goulay Street.
But you'd have to go left and right. I mean, you'd need Google Maps or something.
No, you wouldn't need it at all, Jeremy.
No,
you just need to cross the road.
I think you're bordering on false advertising.
Misleading,
there,
deceptive.
Well,
maybe?
you've certainly misled us.
You've got parks everywhere.
What you were talking about,
Jeremy. This is a snap. What I'd call a snap purchase.
You do say that
because there's only 4 apartments in the block. It's one of 4.
Boutique.
It's ground floor. It's 3 bedrooms or 2 plus 2 living areas, depending on how you want to set it up. It's in good nick.
Yes.
It's got parking.
Yes.
It's got security, and it's 5 to 550. And
Nicely
I like
priced.
it. A lot of people came to see it at the first open inspection.
Did, Gary.
I'm
Over
not
20
surprised.
people in one day.
There are buyers everywhere at the moment, aren't there?
There are. There
Lots
are
of them
buyers.
around,
Our average numbers at inspections are increasing, and I think that's twofold reasons why, Gary. One is obviously real estate is now coming back
It's
in
back
vogue.
into vogue, back in fashion. It's back. It's the go again.
It is, but also, as you can see by our rundown of all the properties that are coming up, we are a bit light on for stock. Volume is certainly
Industry's
down.
crying. Agents are bleeding. There's a lot of pain out there.
I wouldn't say they're bleeding. There's not a lot of pain.
There is pain because the volume's terrible. Let's face it. We're like 30, 40% down on what we were a year or 2 ago, Jeremy. It's very depressing. So we're passing the hat around at the moment and having a little cry about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pass that hat around for you, Gary. We should probably pass the hat around for your hairdresser and get him involved.
You could do that
but
too.
we should just pass the hat around so we can put it on your head, so we don't have to see your hair.
Is that right?
We actually both could do with a bit of a haircut.
See, I don't mind about. I'm into the being of extra here. I don't like the whole military sharp look. We're real estate agents. We're real people. We're not, some sort of military operation.
No, we don't have to be military, but we also don't have to be Chewbacca, Gary.
No, that's true too. I suppose there is
grey somewhere in
right.
between.
There's a bit of grey over here.
There's a little bit, Gary. There's a little bit actually. No,
Even
just
coming
here on the
through
side. Yeah.
It's starting, isn't it?
My son told me on the weekend that he loves my grey hair.
I love it. It's starting to happen. 4215 Oran Road. Let's wrap up with that.
215. This is a big apartment,
It's
Gary.
big.
You would
It's
know
bold.
because you and
It's
I
beautiful.
sold this about 5 or 6 years ago.
Did we really?
It is a ripper in a boutique block. This is the first floor at the rear. It is huge, epic proportions. I love
remember
this
this one now.
apartment.
We sold it for the guy who was into the Tai Chi. Remember the older
he
fellow?
was he was about 90 and
he's
still
the sort
fitter than you.
He's the sort of guy that some punk would go and sort of, hassle.
Thinking he got the wrong guy.
Yeah, he's that. He's like, he was like the Clint Eastwood, wasn't he, of his day? He was like the local Clint Eastwood. He would just fold you up and fix you up at 90
I
years
prefer
old.
to think he was more Mr. Miyagi than he was Clint Eastwood.
He was a bit Mr. Miyagi,
Maybe
wasn't
could have been a combination.
Interesting and delightful man, an interesting person.
But it's
lovely
not
family.
him that's selling it this
No,
time
it's
now,
not,
Gary.
but I
So
thought we'd
let's
reflect
digress
that.
and
So I
move
know the
on. But
apartment
this
we're
one
talking
is
about,
a
yes.
great apartment. This one, as you can see here, 950 to $1,045,000.
Yep.
Sharply priced, big apartment.
Has that
They don't
started?
make
Are we
them
in-
like
are we
these.
in campaign
We're
yet?
starting
I
tomorrow,
thought so,
this weekend, Gary.
Okay.
This one coming up. In fact, it was just added to the internet yesterday.
That's a St Kilda report, Bayside Report exclusive there for at 215 Oran Road. And that's a big wrap on this last week of August, which will be coming out probably in September. I don't know if we're coming out late August, September. We'll work it out when it gets released and produced.
Well, it's coming out today, Gary.
Is it? No, yeah. Well, it's coming out
today.
We're making it yesterday or the day before.
No,
anyway,
Gary.
Work it out.
Don't
that's a big
spoil it for the viewers.
Okay, yes. Don't take away the mystique.
Yeah.
It's like a magician revealing the tricks, isn't it?
Correct.
It's like showing them put the rabbit in their hat, isn't it? It's the end of the
I
show.
think it is the end of the show, and I just want to, just for next time, Gary, you need to probably just do some work on some of your dialogue, some of your gags. We might actually prepare a little bit of a script for you next week.
Right.
I want you tidied up, hair done nicely, and tie on. This is a business
you got
meeting.
Tie on. It is.
This is
indeed.
not fun and frivolity.
Is there anywhere you want to be? Anywhere else in the world coming to spring than St Kilda? I mean, St Kilda is a great part of the world, isn't it?
I'll tell you what's
great cafes, great
what's
restaurants,
beautiful
great
about
people,
right now.
great beach, everything.
It's freezing cold, but
Yeah.
the sun is out.
Sun's out.
And St
Start
Kilda,
happening.
it's starting to. There's a
Shine.
bit of a, there's a bit happening.
It's like it's coming alive. It's waking up for the spring, and there's going to be plenty of exciting real estate on offer.
is indeed,
This
Gary.
spring in St Kilda and Bayside. It's a big wrap on the St Kilda and Bayside Report. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Jeremy Rosens. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.